Thank you again. I'm Trevor, and just a quick background on myself. I've been in Web3 for a long time. I'm from Toronto originally. That's where the Ethereum kind of movement came from. I have my friend Sunny here as well. We grew up reading the Vitalik's white paper early on, just being at the right place at the right time. I was also involved in the early kind of Bitcoin scene before Ethereum as well. And these were some of the world's first like altcoins, I guess, ever that were based on Bitcoin, like MadeSafe coin and colored coins. So that's going way back to like the early 2010s, I guess. And eventually in 2017, I launched my own project called Polymath, and it was an early tokenization platform, kind of like the real world asset narrative that is today is what Polymath was. And I was really proud of it. We raised $60 million about. We got up to $1 billion token network supply, circulating supply valuation. We had some really good investors. And now we have a layer one that Charles Hoskinson and I kind of helped architect. That's out in the wild. But after we decentralized it, we had a full layer one that was completely decentralized now out of Switzerland. It kind of freed me up to do something new. And that was AI. About 18 months ago, I got really excited about AI. I have a friend from Waterloo University. It's kind of a technical school where I'm from. That's where Vitalik went to university briefly before the Thiel Fellowship stole him. And I wanted to learn about AI. And I kind of hired him to be my tutor. And he kind of broke it down to me in a really simple way, which was number one, data, and number two, compute. That's kind of what AI is. It's like two prime factors, it's data, compute, and then some algorithms in the middle. And so a lot of people today are focused on the compute side. So this is like the GPUs, having the inference running to make these models magical. But I was really more excited about the data side, because data to me is more scalable, it's more native to what my background is. And so I kind of started looking at how data is currently structured for AI models and data sets. And there's really just a few steps. It's kind of like a supply chain. It starts out as raw data. So like crude oil in the ground is like raw materials, raw data. So it starts out like that. And then you have to refine that data. You have to structure it. And that's step two. And then step three is taking that and running a training model on that data. And then finally, there's the fine-tuning step as well, which is kind of like making it better by adjusting dials to make it perform better. So that's how AI data is very simple. And then I started looking at how it's being done in some of the biggest companies in the world that do data labeling, as it's known as. These are companies like Scale AI. These are companies like OpenAI who outsource their data labeling to companies. And as it turns out, there's one thing that surprised me about how it's done, and that is that human beings are extremely important in this process. In fact, the more humans you have fine-tuning data, the better the model is going to perform. And OpenAI was the first company that actually used industrial-scale humans. This is known as RLHF, reinforcement learning with human feedback. They were the first company to ever do that at industrial scale. So instead of having like dozens of humans fine-tune the data, they have millions of humans fine-tuning the data. And that was kind of the main reason that OpenAI broke out early on, is because they were the first ones to do this at scale, and then suddenly their models performed extremely well. That's what it looks like. This is data labeling. It's image classification, it's bounding box. There's kind of different modalities. So there's text-based data labeling, there's video-based data labeling, there's audio-based, there's LiDAR, which is like self-driving data. And this is kind of examples of what humans do to fine-tune data sets. So that's what it is. But what happened is, because OpenAI kind of won the early market here, it led to this explosion of demand for human feedback in these models. And so OpenAI, they're spending, I think, $1 billion this year on human fine-tuning. Last year, it was like $10 million a month. So they're like 10xing their budgets on humans labeling data, because that's how you get performant models. And everybody's fighting each other to have the best performing models. And so the best way to get better performance is to dump more humans into your training data and get more and more human training data as well. And it's a big market. Even today, companies like Scale AI, they're like, I think they raised at 13 billion, and that's just one data labeling company. So the market's growing like crazy. But here's the problem. Implementing, like let's say you're not big tech and you want your models to perform well. What do? How are you going to like implement millions of humans in your data set? You really can't afford it. It's very messy. It's very expensive. You have to like have these facilities in Southeast Asia. That's literally how modern data labeling is done. It's like these huge call centers with like 30,000 male Filipinos in one area in Southeast Asia labeling data all day. So that's literally the modern AI magic that we enjoy today is powered by a lot of Southeast Asians doing data labeling all day. And to me, it just seemed a little outdated. It's not even like Web 2. It's like Web 1, like call centers with like top-down bureaucracies. I have some more information too. This is what a data labeler looks like. This is an avatar, Maria. They make $1 or $2 an hour. They have to do a lot of crazy boot camps and training. Sometimes when they get paid, they don't get paid because they have to cash out in fiat, and there's remittance problems, and PayPal could get disintermediated. And they only make a couple bucks an hour, so even it's not quite a living wage in a lot of areas. And it's kind of boring work too, so data labeling, it looks like Excel spreadsheets, like data input. It's not really fun or anything like that. And so hopefully this demo works. Cool. And so Sapien, we decided to build kind of from first principles a new way to do data labeling. So I'll just explain what's going on here. If you're a company that wants human feedback, which is like any model that you want to perform well, whether it's an enterprise model, an open source model, a researcher model, all you do is kind of upload your raw data to the network. So it's like drag and drop. You don't have to call anyone. You don't have to get lawyers or business development people involved. You pay, and then you're done. And then on the fulfillment side, on the supply side, we built a Web3 game, like a fun interface. Think of it like Axie Infinity for AI, where people get paid to label data, but they can have fun. And we've tried to integrate a lot of Web3 native features like airdrops. So if you're playing accurately, we have algorithms that detect to a high degree of certainty how accurately you're playing. You can win airdrops, you can win NFTs, you can cash out in crypto as well, so you can get paid immediately. And so we're thinking this is kind of the new iteration of play to earn. We call it train to earn, because it's a little different than just playing a game for fun. You're actually getting paid from real customers paying real money. And that's kind of it. It's kind of like Uber for data labeling, Sapien. So we're trying to make it so like anyone can get their data labeled by humans, number one. And number two, anyone can label data from their phone. They don't have to like sign up for like a job. It's like an Uber driver. You just like, all you need is a car, and you can be a taxi driver. But in this case, all you need is an Android phone, and you can be a data labeler. And because, like, one of the good things about Sapien is because we don't have to pay all the infrastructure that these other centralized facilities have to pay. It's digital first. So all the savings that we have by not having to pay for these facilities and boot camp instructors and management, we can send all of that money back to the labelers. So the unit economics are great. They don't have to make $1 or $2 an hour. They can make $3 to $6 an hour. And now it's a substantially more kind of US dollar-based pay for someone who's in the Philippines or in Southeast Asia. We have one more demo here. We have different skins for different verticals. So we have like the casino skin for more degen labelers. And then we have, this is the StarCraft type theme as well. There we go. And so a lot of data labeling now is getting verticalized. This is a real customer, by the way. They're a retail customer that needs humans to label that image to help them do fashion predictions. there's a lot of predictiveness with these models. So there's like, we have a customer who's a enterprise DeFi company you guys would all recognize, and we're labeling Etherscan data to help build a pricing prediction model for the price of crypto. But for this case, it's a retail customer. We're trying to make it fun. We're trying to make it engaging. One of our investors is Animoca and YGG. These are like Web3 gaming-focused funds. And our plan is to like have this interface kind of embedded into their homepage. So now any one of their guild members or labelers can just seamlessly go on the YGG homepage and start earning money immediately at the end of the day. And you saw there we have like avatars and guilds, and you can like challenge other guilds and do like labelathons instead of hackathons and things like this. Yeah, so now Maria, our customer avatar before, like I said, she was like, had to drive to this crammed office. She didn't get to work from home. She had to do all these kind of like frustrating things. And now she can make a living wage. She can work from home. She can play the Sapien game at a bus stop instead of playing Candy Crush. She can just earn some money. And then she can also have fun too. Like you can see we have like airdrops. We can kind of like do a bit of degen gaming as well. I kind of joke about this because back in the early Ethereum days, people talked about the Ethereum scaling trilemma. We have our own data labeling trilemma, which is how can we pay the customer less, the customer pays less, the labeler, the user earns more, all while accuracy being high at the same time. So this is kind of the hypothesis we started with, that we can make it better for everybody, like a win-win-win. And we can use kind of Web3 incentives like staking to ensure decentralized data quality, because that's the big challenge, right? Like how do you ensure quality in a distributed model? And that's something that we're experimenting with. One other quick point, I have like a minute left, is our distribution strategy. So when I was at Polymath, we created a standard called ERC 1400, which is now the default standard for tokenization on Ethereum. And it turns out data labeling also needs a standard, because all of these customer pipelines with raw data that needs labeled don't speak with each other, they're not interoperable, and they have proprietary tech stacks. So we're actually creating a standard called AI20. In fact, the guy who created ERC20 is a great guy, and he collaborated on us helping do ERC 1400. But for Sapien, we want to build our own AI data standard called AI20. So now anybody can hook into our Sapien front end in kind of a seamless way. Quickly on enterprise clients. So we have 7 different verticals and 13 paying customers. These are like large enterprises. We have a large language model you would recognize as a paying customer. We have a Web3 customer. This is John. He's building a model to detect if students are cheating using ChatGPT. So schools are paying him to detect that, and he used us to help label the data, which is pretty cool. And we have one of the biggest education companies in Asia, and we're labeling their math GPT. So they're trying to teach kids math homework and algebra and calculus through autonomous agents, and they need data labeling to make that work. Yeah, so that's a quick overview of kind of our traction so far, real quick, and some of our investors. And finally, the team and how to connect with us. So thanks for your time, everybody. Thanks to the organizers as well. Appreciate it.